Hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism are disturbances of the thyroid gland. The spiritual causes of both are many. Hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism have been a problem in our society for millennia. The spiritual cause of hypothyroidism and indeed hyperthyroidism can be traced back to the energy of the neck area. The neck is the home of the thyroid gland. The neck is the vortex for expression and the source of many health problems when the energy of this area is suppressed. In essence, a disturbance of the thyroid gland can lead to a feeling of powerlessness. Thyroid disease is a common problem for both men and women, but predominantly women. The suppression of feminine power has taken its toll through our ancestry, cultures, and environments. But many women are waking up to the fact that thyroid disease is caused by a suppression of our identity. So here I explain how problems with the thyroid energetically start, the causes, and how it can affect your life. But first, let's start with the medical terminology of diseases that cause hyper and hypothyroidism. So the two main diseases of the thyroid are Graves' and Hashimoto's. When we delve into the energetic function of our thyroid, it brings together two opposing energy patterns. Hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism come from two thyroid diseases known as Graves', the upper, and Hashimoto's disease, the downer. You can actually experience both, and one very often leads into the other. So, Graves' disease is an autoimmune condition that causes your thyroid to become hyperactive. There are a number of disorders that may result in hyperthyroidism, but Graves' is the most common. It is most common among women and people younger than 40, but it can affect anyone. Symptoms include anxiety and irritability, a fine tremor of the hands or fingers, heat sensitivity, and an increase in perspiration or warm, moist skin. Weight loss, and that is despite normal eating habits. An enlargement of the thyroid gland, known as a goiter, change in menstrual cycles, erectile dysfunction or reduced libido, frequent bowel movements, bulging eyes, fatigue, thick red skin, usually on the shins or on the tops of the feet, rapid or irregular heartbeat, palpitations, and sleep disturbance. These are to name but a few. Hashimoto's disease is an autoimmune disease where the immune system mistakenly attacks the thyroid gland. Over time, this autoimmune attack destroys the thyroid tissue and reduces hormone production. The reduction in hormone leads to hypothyroidism. This is really not a clear-cut condition, as antibodies can show up years before the symptoms and diagnosis. So by the time you have symptoms, you would have experienced subtle shifts for around 10 years. One of the first symptoms of Hashimoto's disease is an enlarged thyroid called a goiter. This appears at the front of the neck and can look swollen. Although the disease may occur in your teens or in young women, it more often appears between the ages of 40 to 60 for both men and women, actually. Symptoms are many, and they include fatigue, weight gain, puffy face, muscle and joint pain, hair loss or thinning, brittle hair, a slow heart rate in this case, irregular or heavy menstrual periods, brain fog, lack of motivation. You may feel fed up, feeling powerless, exhausted, or feel like you are running on empty. You may also feel anxious, irritable, and have difficulty in sleeping. But before I go on and explain more, I want to talk more about the underlying energy pattern that is compromised in this condition. The throat and the neck is the vortex of expression. And as a polarity therapist and an energy healer, I know that energy is the essence that underlays everything. It makes us who we are. You may or may not be also aware that we are made up of the elements of nature. Each element has a quality and density of vibrational energy. The energy vibration of the earth, for example, is represented by the bones in our bodies. And at the other end of the scale is the ether element. The ether element is the lightest vibration of energy that creates space. This element's energy center, or hub if you like, is located in the neck and the throat. It is also known as the throat chakra. The ether element allows movement of all the other elements that manifest as earth, which are our bones, water, which is the blood and lymph that runs through our veins, fire, which is our metabolism, air, which is the movement of life energy, and ether, which is the space for movement and flow of all life. Without space, none of the other elements can manifest in your life through your body, mind, and emotions. So the throat area is like a vortex. It is where the personality and characteristics of the lower vibrations of energy are expressed, where we express our thoughts and emotions through creativity, our voice, and our environment. It is one of the key areas in the body where we express the quality of our energetic identity. When the energy of our identity is blocked through the inability to express ourselves, problems occur affecting our health. So imagine being stuck and locked up in a cave with no way out, where you have little or no space to move your body, no space to feel and be heard, no one to listen, no way that you can express your emotions. Only your mind is trapped in this tiny space, feeling trapped and stuck. The expression of your being is suppressed, and slowly over time you shut down. This is exactly what happens when our ether element is blocked. Physical problems occur from being locked up, squashed in, and suppressed. Unless you know how to train your mind to deal with this suffocating situation, slowly your mental, emotional, physical health will suffer. So when feelings are unexpressed, physical problems will manifest. Voice and vocal cord issues, for example, neck tension, sore throat, tonsillitis, laryngitis, hearing problems, hormone imbalances, metabolism issues, grief. In fact, any problem that has manifested in the neck area is caused by a suppression of the ether element, the ether energy in our lives. This is the underlying energy that is in trouble and that may manifest as thyroid problems later on. Mentally and emotionally blocked energy in this area can be devastating. Take grief, for example. Grief is a key emotion related to the neck area. Grief is the inability to express emotion, as it has become too painful to feel. Therefore, the throat is restricted. The ether element is shut down. But there are many other feelings that can manifest from blocked ether element, and they are a feeling that you are gagging to express yourself, feeling you are not able to express your thoughts and feelings for fear of retribution. There is often a fear of articulating what you know or feel. You may feel shut down or not able to scream out, for example. You may be made to feel that you're not good enough and feeling rejected. These are all parts of the pattern of suppressed energy. Also feeling guilty, avoiding your feelings, feeling trapped in a situation. You may have a lack of confidence to speak out, feeling you are not important. There may be poor judgment and poor personal boundaries, and feeling anxious or low or depressed. Many problems related to thyroid disease can be traced back to childhood. As a child, you may have been told to shut up or threatened with, "Wait till your father gets home." You may have been bullied or abused. These situations create underlying fears that cause a suppression of expression and keep your body in a state of fight or flight. This is called sympathetic dominance. The kind of fear that is created by an influential person can activate your adrenals, keeping you on alert in that fight or flight situation. Eventually, over time, you end up with adrenal exhaustion. Adrenaline is a hormone, and hormones are regulated by the thyroid. It is not just adrenaline that is affected through sustained fight or flight response. Estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, cortisol are also regulated by the thyroid. This is why hormonal problems can occur later in life when you have been running a life of suppressed expression. This may result in conditions that manifest further down in the body, such as polycystic ovary syndrome, fertility issues, extremely painful periods, extreme menopausal symptoms, repressed anger and rage. These are to name but a few. And in men, hair loss, low sex drive, low sperm count, loss of muscle mass, lowered testosterone, etc. So growing up in a pressurized environment can suppress your ability to say or express how you are feeling. It stops you from being you. You may feel that you are restricted in many aspects of your life, and as a result, pressure, anger, and grief build up in the throat and neck area. One of the many resulting actions from this kind of suppressed environment is a feeling of urgency to communicate. This leads to an eruption of fiery energy like anger and rage. This can be devastating to a person who is not a naturally angry person. Feelings of guilt come alive as you are unable to deal with the angry feelings that may seem so alien to you. Left unexpressed, these feelings become buried in other places in the body, causing untold havoc with your health, as I described earlier. Suppression over time can lead to a lack of confidence in your ability to be yourself and attract healthy relationships. So as you can see, thyroid problems lead to many issues the medical profession struggles to diagnose, to be frank. I see many clients who are suffering due to this disturbed energy pattern. And this energy pattern of repressed ether can lead to problems attracting the right kind of relationship. I know this as many of my clients have ended up attracting the wrong kind of relationship because of being unable to truly know themselves and express their needs. These unhelpful relationships simply enable the pattern to continue. This is, of course, until you begin to realize that you deserve to be with people who allow you to be you. For example, a person may say they love you, but they're not in a position to commit to you fully. Drama follows the relationship as you try and keep the peace, trying to make that person happy to the detriment of your own needs. Does that sound familiar? You may then excuse bad behavior by thinking that true love is involved, when in actual fact it's not. You may have met this person when you were not at your best, not in your power, and this person turns out to be controlling and abusive. There is a lack of confidence in yourself as you struggle to break free from feeling powerless in your relationship. I see this pattern time and time again in my practice. If this sounds like you, perhaps it is time for you to restore your inner belief that you are more than good enough and deserve the best. So thyroid and neck problems can create poor personal boundaries and a lack of trust in your judgment. When your boundaries are weak, it is difficult to know when it is appropriate to speak up and when not. Very often you feel you've missed the mark as no one took notice and disregarded you. As I mentioned earlier, anger and underlying rage can often be a hidden problem with throat issues. There may be a toxic person or situation in your life, and you feel challenged to move away from this through fear of feeling, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm not good enough to move forward on my own? You may feel ready to move on with your life, but lack trust in your judgment. So then there's a lot of judgment around this area of the body. Influential people may have silenced you many times and have left you feeling powerless. Your experience with influential people as a child may have left you feeling inadequate, unheard, and rejected. An influential person may have a habit of cutting you off in mid-sentence. never being allowed to complete what you wanted to say, you feel it difficult to express sadness or even cry. When you did communicate, your timing always seemed to be out as you were trying to be heard. Maybe getting out what you wanted to say quickly, but others were not ready to hear you out. This caused you to feel rejected and punished, compounding the situation. Does this sound familiar to any of you? Influential people may have projected their insecurities onto you as power games. This is all to do with control over you, making you feel incompetent and disempowered. Children, unfortunately, are often the targets for parents' manipulative power games. Isn't that sad? So it is my purpose in life to help people like you. If you are fed up, feeling powerless, exhausted, or feel like you're running on empty, I'm here to help you break free from the shackles of your past. So I would invite you to take a look at your own life and how you feel. Do you feel able to be free to be you? Do you feel like you are trapped in a cave? So you can find more about the work that I do on my website, which is janieseaman.com. And you can find out how you can book an appointment with me, or you can sign up for my free energy, health, and wellbeing hub. Thank you for listening.